This is the Handlin It podcast. I'm your host, Tony, with my co-host, Aiden here, and we got BBO Productions. These are the most guys we've had on this podcast. What is up, guys?
Records.
We're here.
Wow.
Yeah.
What an honor to be on the Handlin It podcast. Super thrilled to be here with you guys. Thank you for having us. Thank you for coming down.
Long time coming.
Long time in the making, yeah. And
Yeah.
Benito has, this is his space, so shout out to him.
Shout out Benito.
Super grateful that you guys were willing to come on and come into this space and kind of make it your own for the day. And thank you for coming.
Yeah, hell yeah. Why don't you guys go down and just introduce yourselves, like who you are, what you do for, music-wise, and we'll go from there.
Sparky, you want to start it off?
Yeah, so my name's Mark. I'm 22. I'm originally from Greene County, New York. I just moved here in Oneonta in June. Met two of my guys, two brothers and family that I got now. I'm an artist. I'm a rapper. I make music and stuff like that. And I'm just hungry and trying to get to the top. And that's what I got.
What do you make music-wise? What do you do? What's your genre?
Rap. I rap.
I rap. What's up, guys? My name is J. Lou the Prophet. You can just call me Prophet if you want. So long, I get it. But and I do kind of a blend of music, if you will. I like to rap. I like to sing. I haven't been putting anything out as I've been working on my singing voice lately. But I'm 29 years old. I came from Otsego, New York, so super, super close. Moved here to Oneonta. Met Benito, started really getting into the mixing and mastering and recording process of music. And then from there, we built studios, and the rest is kind of history. We've been having people come in day and day after just to get reps in and just to really get creative.
Yeah.
So it's been a really good ride. Yeah.
For sure. I go by Benito Loco. I'm a studio owner, musician, producer, engineer, jack of all trades, if you will. We just recently opened the studio, and it's amazing that now we have the opportunity to get the Handlin It boys in the building.
Yeah.
I've been making music since the end of 2021. Started putting music out on streaming platforms in 2022. Met Prophet a couple years back at work, and then we started to get together and we started beat production, started to learn how to record ourselves. We hit the ground running, really, and from that point on, we just haven't looked back. So it's my spiel.
Hell yeah.
So what got you guys into music in the first place? Like what did you hear, or maybe even who did you meet that got you into being like, yeah, I want to make music. Yeah, I want to produce this and I want to be a producer.
So I'll say it from my perspective. When I first started, shout out to Fatim Smith at MEB Records, the owner of MEB.
Shout out to you.
When I first started, that was really the only music studio that was in Oneonta that was accessible for me to get into, to even attempt making music. So that was in 2021, and I got the chance to meet some engineers and producers from Albany. Met a couple producers and engineers from Utica. They would come in and out, and we would do work together. I really started writing short form poems at the end of my high school years, like in 2016, 2017. And I never really knew what to do with it. And when the studio opened at MEB I think it was 2018, I hadn't been in there when they initially opened, but as time went on and I heard about it through the grapevine, I knew that that was the spot that I had to go to because it was the most accessible at the time. So, Joel?
Yeah, music for me, it's always a little bit deeper because I met Benito probably 4 years back for the music. But for me, music really started when I was younger. So my mom has always had me invested in things of musical nature, like choirs at church, band and chorus at school. Hated chorus at school.
Me too.
Rebel
Yeah,
with
bro.
us.
I'm not a fan.
Frozen songs.
Yeah, it's so strange, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? And then they were always picking these weird timepieces and stuff. They're like, yeah, go sing this song. I'm like, nah, it's just not my thing. But I've always really, really been invested in music. And so for me, it was always percussion and drums. So I love to just kind of just get in there, do anything snare wise, bass wise, kick wise, anything like that. So I started out musically doing things like that. And my mom tried to really get me invested in the organ and the piano. And I'm not. I got short hands, you know what I mean? I got short fingers. So stretching your hands across the keys is painful. So as a kid, I'm like, this isn't it either. so it was really about like picking up the percussion, and then later on, I met Benito, and it was really about translating the physical, where it's like on a drum kit and things like that, into now doing it electronically, and then figuring out how to do things electronically. And he was a great teacher at that moment, to really build a basis of knowledge, and we started to really like learn together. It was a day in and day out process. I mean, it was hours on end. We usually worked until like maybe like 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night, and then we'd be linking up until like 4 a.m. in the morning. And it was just us in this like rusty little living room of mine, and we were just keying in notes. And at the time, we didn't have anything set up like this or any sort of
Keying
studio.
notes on a space bar.
Key notes in
Yeah.
like a space bar computer, like barely have the running version of our DAW situation. So we're like running on the very basics. I don't even have any music set up, so we're using like a sound bar situation, and we're just in there and we're just banging around. But like we started to build a foundation, and from there, like 3 years later, we're capable of now running our studios and having like a setup where we get on an interface and we're looking at things. We have all these plugins. We've invested tons of money into plugins. Like that is like, I didn't realize it was a big game changer. But like when you want to talk about just like investing in equipment and making sure your stuff is sounding professional, that was like where a lot of money went. And I went ham with that because I was like, okay, we got to get these things because we want to run a studio. We want to be professional, and we want to keep that kind of air about us. So from there, it was just kind of cheese, cheddar, and cake. We just did our thing, and now we're at this moment where we're producing and making beats. We're making recordings. People have come to us to do covers, and craziest thing is he got to do a Wicked cover like 2-3 weeks back. Like somebody came in here and was belting out the highest notes I've ever heard in my life. Crazy.
That was one of the craziest experiences of my life, because typically the artists that I record are hip hop, R&B, soul. So that's kind of that lane that I'm typically used to. And this girl, shout out to Naraya Lang, she came in and she wanted to do a cover for a Broadway show, Something Wicked.
Yeah.
And bro, it was totally not in my ballpark of the bag that I had. So it just teaches you kind of, when you have new people come into your space doing things that you're not typically accustomed to be able to adapt.
Yeah.
And to be able to really think on your feet. And I think that the fact of the matter is that with all the work that we put in years ago, just to cover our foundation, just to make sure that our T's are crossed, our I's are dotted, it really helps us to then use our intuition to kind of see what the artist needs in whatever direction that they want to go.
Yeah,
So,
to adapt.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Sparky?
Yeah. So I started making music like really young, like 13, 14. I was making just like SoundCloud songs on a HP Dell laptop and stuff like that. And it was fun. And then around like 16 or 17, I kind of got like a little buzz and got like played. I dropped 2 songs. They were cool and they got some plays and stuff like that. But my recording situation was kind of shaky. I didn't have like a constant spot to keep going and making music and having like a good relationship with anyone and stuff like that. So from like 17 to probably like very like June almost, I kind of just put the music stuff to the side, and I was more like, I'm gonna probably just go to like trade school, get a construction job, work in, like
You
the
sold the dream, bro.
yeah, bro. And I was like,
Yeah.
music, that was the kid dream. Let me just grow up and grow up with my life and stuff like that. So I relocated. I was like, I gotta get out. I've been living in the same town for 20 something years now. I came out here just looking for like opportunity, not even in like a music way, just life in general. Like, oh, there's more, there's a school there. There's more stuff going on than where I'm from and stuff like that. And not even like a week into me working, like where I got my new job with them and stuff like that, they were talking about music, and it was like, bro, that moment just moved so slow, and I was like, all right, you could shut up and just like sit there and keep doing what you're doing and not speak up, or you speak up and like let them know you have a passion and you want to do music and stuff. And so I did, and I was like, yo, I would love to somehow work with you guys and like get in there. And they took me under their wing, and not even just like, they could have ran it like a business and made it a transactional thing, like, yeah, bro, come in, give us chicken, and that's that. But they took me
I
under
like
their
chicken.
wing. Nah, but they really like took me under their wing and like taught me everything behind the scenes of music. Like I can, like I can almost basically make a beat by myself now and stuff, and I can construct songs different. I never even thought about like a song structure before. I was just rapping whole songs, like bars, 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 bars. I'm just rapping, and now it's become like this passion and hunger. Like I really want to be like one of the best and stuff like that. So just like that long break really gave me like a different perspective, and now I just feel like I'm coming coming a lot different now and taking it a lot more seriously.
Getting back at it, you know.
Getting back at it.
Wow. January 2nd, right?
January 2nd. Sparky, let them know.
Yeah, so by the time this is out, it'll be by the time this is out, Back at It. It's on all streaming platforms. It's on YouTube. It's everywhere. If you want to go stream it, I'll really appreciate it.
No, not if. Stream that. Stream that shit.
Stream Back at It.
Gotta have it.
That's facts.
Yeah. So that's the first song I'm dropping.
Yeah, coming out swinging for 2026.
Yeah, I wanted to start the year like strong and do like the first Friday of the year and just start at the top of the year. And we're gonna hopefully have a single every month following that, and then summertime we'll see where we're at and we'll see what we got. We might have something bigger for you guys. Who knows? You know what I'm saying?
So as far as the Twitch streaming goes, how did you guys get into that? What made you decide to pursue that?
That was definitely something that Mark had brought to the attention of Prophet and I. I had never considered streaming simply because I felt like I didn't have the right content to be able to put out there. I know a lot of people stream like gaming. I know people do like live shopping type of ordeals where they sell products like over a live stream and they commission off of it. And then, like, for example, DDG, the hip hop artist from California, he was one of the first guys that I saw that live streamed his music creation process. So when Mark came to us with the idea of live streaming, I thought it would just be a seamless transition because we made music all the time anyway. So what's the difference if we're just going to have a camera and film us live versus if we're just going to do it in our free time, you know? So yeah. Mark was definitely the driving factor to break us into that lane for sure.
Yeah, it just kind of like stemmed off of seeing like Blackboy Max was a big, like, he has a series called In the Booth where he'll have like different artists come in and he'll do different work with them and stuff like that, and just seeing like how he attacks stuff differently, I thought it would be kind of cool to showcase that. And I think that's also a thing that, like, as fans they'll appreciate from their artists, is like being able to be basically like in the studio with us, you know what I mean? Like being able to type in the chat and be like, nah, make the hi-hat roll like this, or nah, this sample, you know, just being able to give live feedback as if you were in the studio. There's not a lot of artists you can do that with. Like, people aren't, you know, that confident in their creation process and stuff like that, and don't want you to see all the flaws. We want you to see every single one of them, because that's like the real, and that's what Music Monday is about, is just getting the real like studio session and what it's all about, like not just the pretty stuff that you see when the music's done. So yeah, and I had also streamed like video games and stuff like that, so I had a cool little like knowledge on the. Joe really had like the sauce. Like, once I initiated, I was like, yo, I want to do the streaming thing. He was like, yeah, all right, man, I got it. I can show you how to do it. And he really put it to like the point where it was like, all right, we can actually do this consistently, and it's a good product. You know what I mean? And we're proud of it. So yeah, it's really a team effort, I'd say.
Yeah, sometimes, you know, I love storytelling, and then I hear these stories and I'm like, where the hell did this story come from? Sometimes I'm just like, was I even there? You know what I mean? No. So like, let's give credit where credit is due. You know what I mean? In the beginning, Bennett and I had really like experimented with going live on Instagram. Nothing really like streaming wise. So we had kind of gotten down to our software using OBS, and we started to kind of figure out how to like duplicate our screens and really like relay the image of us making our beats, or just kind of like editing our beats and doing things like that.
Scenes,
right,
you know,
exactly.
yeah,
so we kind of like really built some building blocks by going live on Instagram. But then we met Mark, and Mark was like, oh, I have a Twitch account. We should do some streaming. And I was like, oh, okay, well, this is super simple. Like, we already have the gear, we already have the setup, everything all runs through here. So I was like, all we have to do is link your Twitch to our OBS, and we should be able to literally seamlessly transition into streaming online. And it worked like a gold mine. I mean, like, my God, like, camera set up, mics are going, and now we have this super sick booth that we use, and everybody can hear what's going on. And I think it's super nice because like Mark said, you know, you get to really see the creative process and like what's going down inside the booth, as well as like where we are at in our creative process. I think a lot of people see the polished, finished version and they're like, wow, that's super good. And then they see the behind the scenes photos and they're like, whoa, this is what was actually going on.
In an 8-hour stream.
Right, in an 8-hour stream, you know what I mean? You're going to see it from top to bottom. We build the beats from scratch.
We start from nothing. zero. There's
Nothing.
nothing. There's not like a beat that we loaded up that's ready to rap on. We start with a blank thing, and we start every Monday from like nothingness, and we culminate the idea right there on the stream.
To be honest, I think that is what will separate us from the rest of artists who are in the live stream space, is that the majority of people, they'll go live for like an hour or two, just to kind of get on,
Yeah.
to feed the fans, kind of give them what they want. But what we do is we try and lock in at 5 o'clock every day, or every Monday rather. And most often than not, we'll go till like midnight, or we'll go till 1 or 2 in the
Yeah.
morning.
Yeah.
And it's the entire process, because it'll take an hour or two to make the beats. And then it'll take another hour to write the lyrics. And then it'll take 2 to 3 hours to record everything.
Mhm.
It'll take an hour or two to engineer all of the audio once we have it recorded. So the entire process does take a fair amount of time. And to be able to offer a live stream for the people that want to see it, they see everything. There's nothing that's missed throughout the entire process. And I think that that's what's super cool, because it's raw and it's unfiltered, and you're seeing everything from having nothing to something, you know?
Yeah.
It's big right now too. Like it's a good market to try to break into right now. Just the way streaming's going and everything, it's definitely a really smart like play for content creation.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And it's so easy just to like, make content out of that. Now you have 8 hours of a studio session you can now cut up and make so much content out of and stuff like that. So it really is like the blueprint. I
Yeah.
think.
Do you guys watch any streamers? Who do you guys watch?
I'm gonna sound like a Gen Z like fucking bro. I like the main guys. I don't know, like
Kai Cenat.
Kai Cenat, and I show Speed. I'm just watching Speed. He's in some like third world country right now tour. He was drifting around in a car and stuff.
I saw that.
Yeah, it was
Tough.
super cool. Like I was just like, wow, this guy does this. I mean, they're all right. They're cool. They're fun to watch. And
It's
stuff
like,
like
yeah,
that.
this guy does this. They're all right. They're cool.
Yeah, like
no, it's pretty sick.
yeah, it is pretty sick. They're a little, I don't know, a little.
So how'd you guys come up with BBO? Big Bosses Only.
BBO is first and foremost a lifestyle.
Yep.
And it's a collective as well. But BBO really came from a lyric in one of our songs that we did. Who was it? Joel? Was it Mark? What was it?
Well, I really think the initial idea, we had talked about like trying to kind of like form a collective with us three. Like, all right, what are we gonna be? Who are we? Type of thing and stuff like that. And just I think we said it at work one day, and we were like BBO, like Big Bosses Only. And then so it was that weekend. You and Joel made a song, and then one of you guys said it, and it was like BBO, and I was like, that's what's sticking. Big Bosses Only. Like that's just.
We initially had the idea for a management agency, is what we could call it. And BBO was, we had the idea of Big Bosses Only already. And Mark and I were going back and forth while we were at work one day, and we were just kind of laughing about it. And we were like, oh, it would be funny, like, if we had this structure of like where we operate from. And it kind of just blossomed into what it is today. And it's still very much in its infant stages, which is cool because it shows us that we have so much room to grow. And I feel like as time goes on and as we polish our music and as we get more proficient with our content, it'll, as a lifestyle brand, it'll allow people to kind of come into our world and to kind of see what we do on a regular basis.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's so cool about it, is that it's not focused on one person. It takes the attention off of the individual, and it gives this sense of camaraderie between the three of us, And shout out to our videographer and our right-hand man, Shamar.
Yep.
We call him Sham Wow.
If Sham ain't shoot it, don't shoot it at all.
He's also in there with BBO with us too. He was a member added on to the team. He does great work with us, and
That's awesome.
I just like the word BBO. You know what I mean?
It's just gotta roll off the tongue.
It does. It's so fly,
Anybody can be BBO.
You hear it at the top, Big Boss.
It's so nice. Like you guys have really found like a team. It's nice when someone else has the same goals as you and they're striving for the same things and they're willing to dedicate the same amount of time.
I agree.
Because that's really what it is, right? Is how much are you willing to give up? How much are you willing to sacrifice?
Yeah.
Because you guys all work, right? So you know what it is. Like you know how hard it is to like work your job, and then as soon as your job's done, you're like trying to do this type of stuff, trying to you for your guys' case, you're producing beats, making songs, and just constantly, and sometimes like you said, you took a break. Sometimes it gets discouraging. You're like, damn, just taking too long. Like,
Yeah.
what's the biggest like hurdle that you guys have had to jump?
Well, I think for me it was that like all I ever felt like I needed was help or like a team or people to back me and just kind of show me the ropes and stuff like that. So that was definitely like the biggest hurdle was that pause in time and stuff like that. And I always felt like if I had somebody to show me the ropes or like a consistent place to record at or something like that, I could have been something. You know what I mean? So that was my biggest hurdle, but.
I could have been something.
I feel like a dad, like a dad, like gonna go to the before I broke my ankle, like
I was going to the league.
I was-
School football
league.
story, you know what I mean? Oh,
I was guarding Michael Jordan in high school. You don't even know it.
I think the biggest hurdle that I encountered as I started my music career was just not having the resources. Obviously, having MEB in town was a huge stepping stone because it allowed me to go from just having the desire to make music and to like do it full time to actually being able to step foot and work with professionals and to achieve a quality sound. And I really look back on those times that I struggled, and I just can't help but laugh because I see the position that we're in now, and the struggle is kind of what defined it in that time frame.
Yeah.
And now being where we're at now, it's like if you told me that we would be studio owners, that we would produce all of our own stuff, that we would learn how to record ourselves, that we could engineer our stuff, that we could essentially do the whole thing, I don't know how long it would have taken, but we consistently put the work in and we made a way, and I'm super grateful that I ended up meeting these guys because one person can only do so much. You'll get to a point when you need a team because with just one person, there's nobody to bounce ideas off of. And what may be a good idea to you may not be a great idea in the grand scheme of things.
Yep.
So to be able to have these guys here for me to be like, hey, do you think that this hook has that wow factor that it needs to draw the attention of a listener? Or do you think that I should be running sessions this long to avoid burnout? Like, it's just cool to be able to have a little reassurance from the group of people that we are associated with. So yeah, the biggest struggle, similar to Mark, was just not really having that foundation initially to build off of. But I mean, look at us now. Like we're at a point now where we're doing it.
And honestly, you've come a long way because, like, I don't know if any of the viewers have done this, but like, if you opened up like an audio interface like Audacity or like anything like other than that, it's pretty overwhelming. It's just like you're not gonna pick up a pencil and paint the Mona Lisa. Like, you really have to put in the work to figure out what actually is going on in the entirety of it. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah.
it's crazy like learning all that too because before meeting them, like I just had the ability to rap and stuff like that, and I had no idea like how much goes behind making a beat and mixing and mastering and stuff like that. And now that I'm learning it, it's like you said, like painting the Mona Lisa in front of my face. I'm like, yo, I would like for that to sound like this, and he does it. And I'm like, holy shit, like bro, you're fucking awesome.
And I know Mark brought it up, the fact that he was grateful for the fact that he found his team. But just as much as Mark is grateful to have met us and that we have come together as a group, I am grateful for the fact that I have these guys on my side because as much as I like to learn on my own time, I learn so much from working with these guys. There comes a point when the student becomes a teacher and then the teacher learns from their students. And it was one of those dynamics where it's like, I've learned what I've learned up to this point, but now it's like, let me kind of take a back seat and see what these guys are doing, see how they operate, see if I can learn any subtleties from how they operate. And it just works so well. The collaborative process between the three of us, it really can't be beat. I learn something new every day working with these guys, and I feel like that's driving us forward every day is the fact that we put the reps in and that we just don't stop. We really don't take breaks, and I don't think we can, especially on the trajectory that we want to go on. So
yeah.
Well, that's what it's all about is consistency, right? Like you
Mhm.
have to keep in order to compete with all the like everyone else, all these bigger guys. You know that like what you were saying, how you think that's what's going to separate you guys from everyone else is just what you're doing differently and how often you're doing it. That's
Mhm.
definitely what it is,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, and to be honest, we're in the music industry, so we're going up against the likes of Drake,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Taylor Swift,
Yeah,
The Weeknd, Bad Bunny. And it's like when you think about it like that, it's like those are our competitors. So, in order for us to achieve the successes that we want to achieve, we have to handle ourselves accordingly. And, we're in the game now. So, it's like if we're not handling ourselves professionally,
If we ain't handling it,
if we
Nice.
because if we don't handle it, somebody else is going to.
yeah,
Yeah.
And we can't be behind. We always have to be one step ahead. You
Yeah.
know?
100%.
It's nice to have feedback too, and like having feedback, it pushes you in a direction that you weren't going prior. Like you were saying earlier, like how you can make beats and then be like, hey, is this going to catch your attention? Kind of things like that. But also like the accountability that you guys have on each other. Like you're gonna have to hold each other together. Like, hey, yeah, you can't miss today because
Yeah.
we're trying to make it here.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
get your shit together. Don't
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
running that. Do you have any of those problems? Do you have any where someone's like, hey, I'm not gonna be able to make it today?
Like what?
Well, I mean, I don't necessarily see it as something that we've encountered consistency wise because like you brought up, the accountability factor is great with this unit that we have because say one day I get off work at midnight and I just want to go home and sleep. I got the guys here to be like, no, bro, go to the studio and make a beat. Get that rep in because it's important. Because if you're not getting your rep in, some kid from California or Atlanta is up grinding all night into the morning, doing the same thing, trying to accomplish the same thing as you. So having these guys here, it just gives you that extra motivation when you don't have it.
Yeah.
And I think that's the defining thing is doing it even when you don't want to.
Yeah.
Because this is what we want to do. But there will be moments when it's like, oh man, do I really have to go to the studio? I could just go home and make some food and curl up in bed and watch some Netflix, But it's like, we know what we want to do. And there is a price that comes to be paid for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's tough.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you got to make a lot of
What was the question?
sacrifices.
No, I'm just kidding. That'll be a good cutout. That'll be a good cutout.
Yeah.
Zoom in on the face. What was the question? You guys had asked about hurdles, and these guys had a chance to share, but I just didn't get a chance to answer the question. So I'm gonna answer the question. No. And then you had talked about problems, so I'm gonna talk about all those things. No. For me, hurdles, and I know he suffers from it too, is like a perfection paralysis. Ooh,
Yeah.
there we go. Ooh,
Mm.
perfection paralysis.
Yeah.
I think I got it.
Yeah.
And it's mostly just like kind of jumping that hurdle of being like, okay, this is something that I'm proud of putting out. This is something that's worth putting out. This is something that's worth creating. This is something that's worth doing. And there's a lot of times, especially you'll see like late at night when I'm working, ask him, like I'm just on my phone watching videos of how to learn and how to like just like I'm just constantly like trying to acquire some sort of knowledge about what we're doing and how we're doing it. So that way we can one, replicate it for others, and then two, just become more proficient at the process. It's about once you enter that level of professionalism, it's not just about your product and how well you can sell your product, but it's also about how efficient you can get your product done. And that's a service, that's something that people that with perfection paralysis, it's something that can just create a large hurdle for people to jump over. And there's a lot of times, especially like I have so much unreleased music, but it's like there's a moment where I'm listening to it and I'm like, does that sound right? Is there a way I could fix this? Is there a way I could go back and tune this? And there's a lot of times where these two are great supporters, and they're like, "No, dude, this sounds great. This sounds great. Like, do this. This sounds great, or put this out." So having these two as an accountability, as a factor to just kind of be like, "Hey, take a step back, know that what you're doing and where you're at in this process, this is worth putting out. This is worth showing people, like this is the work that you're producing right now."
Yeah.
And then you can only get better as well. So, you got to never stop learning, like he said. So
Never
it's
give
just,
into despair.
never give into despair. quote from Iroh from Avatar.
The best
I gave
quote.
that to him last night when he gave me to despair, bro. Like, it was crazy. I was just like, oh, don't give me
Yeah,
to
actually,
despair.
that's crazy. Just it's crazy, like the accountability and like pushing each other thing. Like last night, we were literally right there, and I'm making a beat, and I'm just like, man, I'm getting so frustrated and like disjected with that. I just don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to make this beat. And he's like, bro, just and he just guided me through. He's like, calm down, just this how you doing, and just to have that like those mentors looking over my shoulder and being able to like guide me through it is something like I'll just like forever be indebted for. I'm so appreciative for it for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you gotta do what you gotta do to push through. And it was late last night. I mean, we're running sessions at like 4 or 5 in the
And
morning.
that's what we're talking about. Like I got out at 2 a.m. last night, and Benito's like, "Do you want to come do a session?" And I just felt like, bro, if I go home and sleep, like Lil Baby just made 3 songs while I'm sleeping. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm
That's
not,
a fact.
yeah, bro. But like, I gotta stay on. Like, it's any opportunity. If he's in here and he's offering me a time to get in here, like I have to be in here making music. It's like the life I want, and there's no time to sit and fuck around. Like, it's either you're making money or you're making music. That's
And I think that's part of the reason why we really like drew towards Sparkly. You guys had talked about just kind of finding that consistency and having that be an issue. And me and Benito were a dynamic duo for quite some time, for a couple of years. And there's been a lot of times where we've really tried to reach out to different individuals and different people and just be like, hey, this is what we're doing. You've expressed the interest of also wanting to be on this route in life and also wanting to be on this path in life. And it's like at that point we're trying to get you to come here. We're trying to get you to come and do things, and we didn't have any major elaborate setups or anything like that, but we're just like, let's come and make beats. We have these studios, we want to do these things. And it was like not a lot of people would gravitate, and it's hard. And we all work jobs, we all have lives, we're all doing our thing. So it's like some people just don't actually have that drive. When we met Mark, it was undeniable. We knew it from the start. It was just hustle, hustle, hustle. Oh, I got beats, I got songs, I got this, I'm ready to do this. I can do this for you guys. There's this content, I have these ideas and this and that. The feeling of wanting to contribute and be a part of what we were doing was evident. And it's like that's it's not to say that it's a problem, but it is something that we have found to struggle with, because finding that type of willingness to go through and do these things, knowing that there's going to be nights where we're recording at 3, 4, 5 in the morning. There's going to be nights where maybe we just make beats, or we're just looking at certain things and doing certain things like that.
yeah.
And it's like, he's willing to do those things. So it was like that was the perfect trifecta. We went from a dynamic duo to a trifecta because it was like that was the person we gravitated to, and he gravitated to us.
Yeah, I felt like
And
it was meant to be. Like they needed one more, and I needed somebody. So it just like all the stars aligned, and it really feels like it was meant to be.
yeah,
For real.
I agree.
It is extremely rewarding to kind of see how things have developed over the years, because initially Joel and I worked at the same place, and Joel was actually one of the guys that trained me when I first came on board. And a couple years past that, Joel came to me and he said, I heard that you make music. He was like, I hear that you make your own beats. He's like, could you show me how to make beats? And from that moment, we just locked in. And it was extremely rewarding to kind of act as like a mentor and like as a teacher, because, he didn't have the knowledge that I had at the time, but we were both willing to put the work in. We were willing to go work 10-hour shifts and then go put 4 to 6 hours in after the shift for the sake of the cause, and similarly, when Mark came onto the scene, it was one of those situations where he had the ambition, he had the drive, he had the want to achieve these goals that he had in place for himself. And to be able to bring him on and to offer that guidance and just to act as a mentor for moments when he doesn't have the information that he's looking for is extremely rewarding.
Yeah.
And I think that that's really been the glue for our relationship, for the three of us, is that we're always looking to learn and we're always looking to better ourselves. And having these guys, we spoke about accountability. These guys hold me accountable for the days that I don't want to do it. They're the ones that are like, you got to do it, bro.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, there's days like some of us will be in the studio, like we worked a long night or something, and like maybe Benito don't want to do a verse. Like, bro, you're doing a verse on this Music Monday, bro. Like, there's no,
Yeah.
we need a 16 out of you, bro. There's no,
Yeah.
and we just, he understands. Like, and they would do the same thing if I was sleeping. They'd be like, yo, Sparky, wake up, we gotta rap, bro. Come on, like, there's
You
no.
with us, bro?
You with us? That's like
That's my thing, dude.
You
You're
with us?
With us?
You here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah.
Well, that's really great. And honestly, excuse me, just seeing like your first of all, the setup here is great. Like, viewers, you can't really tell exactly what's going on, but there's a killer studio here, that we're sitting in here. And so how does that work from like the producing side of things, like with getting people in here and like just I guess just I'm just curious about how that goes. And do people reach out to you? Do you reach out to people and say, hey, like I'm here, I've got this time slot, or how does that work?
So when I first opened, we opened October 1st, so only a couple months ago.
Yeah.
It's really been fashioned as a boutique studio.
Yeah.
It's not really
Boutique. Ooh.
it's not really something that I have advertised
Yeah.
to the general public, and it's not something that I really reach out to many people
Yeah.
to offer these services. So far, I've brought in people that I've had past relationships with that I know make music and that I know that are serious.
Mhm.
That's really the determining factor, is their level of commitment and how seriously they want to take it. Because you know, it's different when you have a makeshift studio in your bedroom and people want to come and record,
Mhm.
and you have to say, like, for example, you can be like, yeah, it'll be $20 an hour to come and record in my bedroom, you know. But it's a different situation when there's business expenses that need to be taken account for having a space like this.
Yeah.
So it's like, instead of 20, you know, it could be 30, 40, 50, 60. And it's one of those things where the general public, they may not be receptive to that because it's a premium service that you're paying for,
Mhm.
and it's expensive, you know. And a lot of people don't have the funds for it. But the people that I reach out to, they are serious enough about it to invest in themselves, and that's really what it is the people that want to make the investment in themselves shows me that I can make the investment of my time and my craft into them. So granted, we only have, you know, 3, 4, maybe 5 artists that have come through so far,
Mhm.
but they're consistent and they want to work.
Yeah.
And we always get their music sounding where it needs to be. One of the things that I pride myself with the studio is when people come in, they have a general idea of like what will take place. They know that we'll make a beat. They know we'll record lyrics. They know we'll engineer a little bit. But the best thing is at the end of the session when they're like, this sounds better than I anticipated. And it's like, well, that's the point. You know, the point is not to bring you in to record something that's going to be average. We want you to be happy with your product so that you can put it out into the world and get behind it. You know, so having the studio is has definitely been a transition because it really went from kind of like a side hustle to a business structure. So with that being said, I think it's very much exclusive in a sense, you know. And as time goes on, and as I'm able to step away from my 9 to 5 a little bit more, and my time frames will free up a little bit, then I'll be able to offer different packages or different rates for people, and we'll be able to fill the schedule up. But for now, it's really a tight knit group of people that come in here, and I like it because that's like the foundation of what it is to be in the local lounge.
Loco Lounge.
So, boys, the question that I have for you is, how did you come to the conclusion of the name of your podcast being Handlin' It?
That's a great question, first of all. Good question. And I think you may be the first guest to actually ask that. So basically, it was something we would say to each other, like when something would go wrong or something bad would happen in our lives, we'd be like, what are you gonna do? Just gotta handle it. So we're just always handling it, you know? Like that was kind of what we were doing. To give you an example, like at one point I like totaled my car. I sent Tony a picture. I'm like, he's like, damn, dude, what did you do? I'm like, just handle it, I guess. I mean, there's not much else to do about it.
Or we'll get like 3 speeding tickets in like the span of 1 month.
Yeah,
and
in
it's
a
like,
row.
oh, fuck, I guess we're just gonna handle it.
Yeah, you got another court date. Just gonna have to handle it.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna lie. Bit of a rough time with those tickets lately. that's definitely.
What are you
that's
gonna do?
definitely- Yep.
Handle
Just
it.
gotta handle it.
Just gotta handle it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's the best like song you feel like you've ever crafted, like personally? Like
See, for them, it might be different too, though, because they work on other people's music.
Exactly,
So they may
yeah.
have made, like me, it'll probably be something that, like, you know, a song that I've made, but they work on a bunch of different talented people's songs. So it might be different for them. Let me think on this. Because the vault's hefty, man. The vault's hefty.
Yeah. Wow.
You guys know a rapper, her name's Georgiana. She's from like Missouri. She's from the South. She's getting up there. She's climbing the ranks. But she had a beat called Timothy Johnson, and I really liked the beat, and I did a remix to it, and it's like the only song so far since I started recording here that like I pulled a beat from someone else, but I heard it and I was like, I have to rap on that, and that one's my favorite so far because I just ripped that motherfucker. We can play it for you after the pod and everything too. We'll show you some stuff.
I can speak on that. Mark definitely did his thing on that. And he told me, he was like, I really like this beat. And when I heard it, it was very unconventional and it just kind of hit the ear differently. And as we were going, I'm like, all right, I can kind of catch on with this. I see the vision. And then once we had the final product, I'm like, bro, this bangs.
Yeah, I had showed him the beat like a week prior and then went home just like writing, just like refining it, rapping it, and making sure like I usually write the lyrics like as the beat's being made, but that one I was like, no, I gotta make sure like this one is different. Like I gotta make sure it's really fire. So that was like a passion project almost. Like I just really wanted to do that for myself. I don't know if it'll ever like see the light of day. It'll probably come out on like SoundCloud. Probably can't release because it's someone else's beat. But it was just more like a fun thing I wanted to do and just my personal favorite for sure.
Prophet, what about you? What's your favorite?
Oh man. So Bennett and I actually, a producer and an engineer out in Utica had hit up a couple of artists and had put out a little blurb about just wanting some people on a project. And he had like a folder of beats. We got to go through and choose whatever beats we wanted to use. And I don't know. There was a beat that I just really like gravitated to, and I just made this track. Oh man, if I can remember the name now because it's been so long. Oh my gosh, I can't even remember what I called it.
Start singing it, you might catch it.
I know. I'm singing it now, and that's the problem. I can't even remember I can't. It's like the hook, the last part of the hook, and it's like gone. No. But that's okay. But yeah, that's probably one of my favorite projects, mostly because like I didn't really have to worry about the beat, but just like really getting in there and having a different mix master, engineer, producer come and tell me or just like say like, hey, here's a beat, make your own project to this. And they weren't like, okay, like send the vocals to us and we'll do everything else. They were like, get it ready for production, get it ready to be released, and then send it back to me. So that was super fun because it was more or less just like me recording to somebody else's music and then just kind of really having the freedom and expression to just go forward and then make my own creative choices at the end of how I wanted things to really sound, and how I really wanted things to kind of balance themselves out. So like I think that's probably like top 3 of my favorite projects. There's like 2 other ones that take the cake maybe, but that one for me personally, like my own personal work, that one probably takes the cake.
Yeah. I think for me, 2 songs come to mind. One was a song that I rapped on, and that was with Prophet, and that was a song titled "Where We From." That was really the first song that Prophet and I did collaboratively. That was the first song that we had a music video done for. We really went all out for it. We did some really cool promotion for it. We got to highlight Oneonta as being kind of like the center of like where we're from and where we operate from. So it was really like a wholesome song because we went around Oneonta. We showed some highlights of the city, some notable attractions where people would recognize the city. And it came out great, and I was really thrilled with that, especially being our first collaborative project that we worked on together. And then the second one would be a track called "Don't Tell Me None," and that was a track that Mark did with another artist with Hennessy Flames. Shout out Henny, super dope artist.
That song was crazy.
The dynamic, that song was just a song that I engineered. That wasn't anything that I had any verses on or any hooks on. And just the dynamic between Mark and Henny here in the studio, it was effortless. And I could just feel it in my bones as we were going through. Everybody just hit flow state at the same time. Yeah. And it just came out so fluidly. And in the third verse, well, for the first verse, Mark had a verse, and then Henny had a verse. And then for the third verse, which was my favorite part of the song, they exchanged bars going back and forth. So Mark would say a line, then Henny would say a line, and then they would go back and forth for the duration of the verse. And they were just storytelling, and it was so peak.
Yeah.
I swear. So that is like one of the most fun projects that I had the opportunity to work on as an engineer. So
Yeah, that was pretty crazy because that was our first time ever even meeting is when she walked through the door and like 2 hours later she got a chair there, I got a chair, and we're just both on the side of the mic and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna say this, and she's like, all right, give me a second. All right, let me go now. All right, punch mine in. And then she does hers, and we're just going back and forth, like not even conversing about like what's about to happen. You know, not being like, yo, you should say this, I should say this. I'm just like saying it, and she's like, all right, now I'm gonna go. All right, now you go, and we're just doing it, and it came out so awesome. Like I was nothing, no words said, just bars.
It's awesome.
That's great. I'm sure it's nice when you're doing collaborations like that to just have a really good flow with someone. Have you
Yeah.
ever had like the adverse experience where maybe you are disagreeing with someone you're on a collaboration with? Like they say something, you're like, nah, that sucks. Nah, don't redo that part.
me personally, I don't think I've ever had that experience. There's definitely been times when I'm in the studio with other people and we're collectively working on a project where there's some friction, whether it be from the subject matter or whether it be an artist isn't comfortable behind the mic and it just, so there are a couple things that can happen during a session, but for the most part, when we all get together, it's very understood. We're very how would I be able to describe this? It's very much understood that if you need help and if you need some guidance and like a push in the right direction, that's what we're here for. We're not here to be like, oh, bro, that doesn't sound good, or you got to do it like this.
Yep.
It's very much, how about you try it this way? Or I think that this would sound good if you tried it this way.
Yeah.
So, and that's something that I pride myself in, is trying to not be so demanding and like barking at people. Is to kind of just get them on the same page of where we feel collectively that the creative vision is going in that direction. So, Prophet, I know that there have been times where I've experienced friction in the studio. Have you experienced that at all as you run sessions for people?
Um, in terms of like friction, no. There's no real like I would say like disconnect and where me and the artist are trying to go. One of my favorite artists, shout out Chris Nazi, from Albany. He does like Afro beats and Afro pop and stuff like that. And he usually comes in, and when he comes in, he has this great way of just like pre-writing all of his stuff and kind of having a basis of an idea of where he wants to go with his music. So it just really creates a very nice flow to the sessions. And a lot of my artists actually fall into that category. Two of my artists from Utica do the same thing where they kind of like pre get ready for this session in a way and kind of bring their work ready to go. And so when we were sitting there and we're discussing certain things, it just creates a nice flow to the session. So I don't think I've really had any issues currently with any like friction, but I'm sure like coming forward, I'm gonna meet some artists who are super like headstrong about the way they want their vision and the way they want certain things sounding. And at that point, it's just like Benito. It's just like he said. He's gonna have to just like either I'm gonna have to find a way to like coach them through it and be like, okay, like instead of doing certain things like this, maybe we try it like this way or something like that, and just see if they're more willing to like lean towards that vision. But I think also at the end of the day, like if an artist is so sure in the product that they want and they're so sure in the sound of and what they want, then I think it's my duty as a producer and as an engineer to like to hit that mark for them, and to really craft the idea based on what they want. At the end of the day, it's not about like the sound that I like or the sound that I want to hear or the sound that I'm enjoying. It is their product, it's their song, it's whatever they want to do. And that's what's most important, is creating their vision and bringing their vision to life. I could sit there and be like, these frequencies or these sounds, they sound terrible. I'm going to take them out. But if he enjoys them or if my artist enjoys them, and that's part of their sound and what they like to engineer their music based on, like, who am I to say, no, you can't have that in there? So at the same time, it's mostly also going to come down to like crafting an image that the artist is most comfortable with and what they really want to leave with. So sometimes, yeah, I got to really take a step back and put myself in the passenger seat rather than the driver's seat and let the artist kind of lead and describe what they want so I can try to get their product and their image out, so they can put it out to the world. Sparky.
Well said.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
See, and I left it off the table, Sparky. We were laughing about it, but
No,
I left
yeah.
it off the table. See, I kept it peaked.
Yeah.
Dab me up for that.
Yes.
Dab me up for that.
And from what I see, is the artists that come prepared to their session with, say, a beat, or if they have their lyrics pre-written, typically those sessions go very smoothly because they've rehearsed it before they get there.
Mm.
You know, it's like, say, in basketball, you don't put up 1,000 shots in the gym just to go into the game and not shoot the ball.
Right.
You know, with those reps that you put in before the game, it's going to get you ready for the game. So in music, if you have all of the information that you need to bring to the studio and you've practiced it and rehearsed it, it's just going to allow things to transpire a little bit more fluidly.
So, where do you guys see yourselves within the next 5 years?
The shaboing boing shabiggle.
Well, I've set some pretty like ambiguous goals, and I guess like now would be kind of like a good time to like put it in the air, so when it happens, like we can have this to kind of reflect on and stuff like that. But I don't know if you guys are familiar with the on the radar freestyles, like the green room.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's like my biggest goal in 2026. I want to be on the radar. I want to do an on the radar video. And then 2027, I want to be an XXL freshman. And I think all those things are like very achievable and like in my trajectory and stuff like that. So 4 years, like we should probably be in Honolulu sipping out of coconut cuts with an umbrella.
You said it here first, y'all.
2027 XXL freshman though. You heard her first on the Handling It podcast.
That's tough.
Yeah.
Profit.
History.
So for me, like I definitely love the artistry part. The artistry is super cool, and if I can do anything artist wise, like and push myself in the next 3 or 4 years for the artistry, that would be super cool. But I'm very more um emotionally attached to some of my music, so it does take me a little bit longer to come out. But mostly for me, I like Benito. He has this studio here, but I do my stuff out of my home, which is super more like it's a more intimate environment.
That's where we do the Music Mondays, right?
Yeah. And that like to me has been like a really great foundation, and I didn't think that I'd be able to really get like clients like Benito has coming into his his actual professional setup, but I've been able to actually obtain just a few of them over the course of this year. So my goal hopefully over the next couple of years is to continue my goals in mixing, mastering, and engineering, to the point where I can probably get some placements and then start working in maybe like having other clients, bigger artists from other areas that are coming from like Buffalo or down in the city. Right now we're in like the Utica, Albany area. So like I want to keep branching out, and then moving further downstate and having different artists come through, and not just for like Music Mondays, but to come there for actual business and actually record and mix and master. So hopefully in the next 4 to 5 years, I'm going to be working with some bigger level artists and having them come up to upstate New York. Shout out upstate New York. We got to get it going.
Shout out upstate New York.
Shout out upstate New York with all this handling it business. So yeah, my goal is to definitely bring more community up here and bring more notoriety to our area and what we do here as a community.
Yeah.
Similarly to Profit, I love the artistry side of the music industry. It's therapeutic in a way, and I think that I'll always do it just for that fact. Whether or not I break into the mainstream, that's really not my biggest concern at this moment. A couple years ago, it was, I want to go touring across the world. I want to make millions of dollars. I want the nice cars. I want the nice houses. And then as I got older,
BBO.
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
BBO.
So, and I realized I'm like, it's not all that it seems to be, and now that I have a studio, one of my big things is I want to be able to continue bringing artists in. I want to develop artists. It's very nice that currently I'm developing Mark as an artist.
Yeah.
I am his mix master engineer. I produce some stuff for him when he doesn't produce his own stuff. But I would like to see the business of the studio kind of take shape on a little more larger scale. And to be quite honest, I really see BBO being a staple and a household name that not only that we can represent, but that a larger community of people can get behind. Because as a lifestyle brand, it's big bosses only, and we said it because we want people to embody that. We want people to feel like they can make boss decisions to positively affect their life and to put themselves on the trajectory that they want to be on. So BBO, the studio, continuing with the artistry just to see where it goes. Those are all very important. And I think in the next 5 years, a lot can change because I know in the last 6 months, our lives have totally changed.
Oh yeah.
Whole 180 for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I feel the same way, honestly. I definitely, you know,
We're on similar trajectories.
Yeah,
similar
exactly.
trajectories, and that's what it's about. Is honestly, it's the grind. It's where you've come from. You know, it's where you started and what your end goal is, and you know, it always changes. It's always evolving. It's always, you know, it's molding itself as you're, you know,
Doing it.
Yeah. So that's what it's all about. So we appreciate BBO
Yeah,
on
we
the
appreciate
Handling It
Handling It,
podcast.
bro.
These guys fucking handle it. It's wild.
Like,
the kinda shit that
subscribe,
they do.
turn on the post notifications.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Check it out in the description
Yep, we'll have
below.
a bunch of links down below.
Yeah.
All these guys.
I hope I did it in the right spot.
Yeah.
What if it's off to the side?
Check out Mark's new song out now.
Back at it.
Yeah,
All
back at
the
it. That's
SPs.
a fact.
Check it out. Thank you guys so much. Shout out Handling It.
It was a pleasure, guys. Thank you for
Yeah,
having
thank
us.
you,
This
guys.
was dope.
Thank you,
Great learning
guys.
experience. Yeah.
Peace.
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 I just stared at the camera awkwardly. That's gonna be good.